Reading and approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
I move we approve it. Second.
Additions, corrections, comments? Lacking any, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Bills, communications.
Okay, we've got several bills this month. First of all, the NYSEG one, actually, it turns out that we approved that last month, so that's not in your packets because it's all taken care of already. We pay that online. I have two of the vendor requests in there for monthly interest for our loan. One is for July's interest and one is for August, so that we've got that approved and can just send out a check to them on August 1st. We've got a bill from CNS, which is for activities related to the sewer project, and can't remember the amount on that. I think it was about 1,800.
Yeah.
So that is in there, 1897.56. And then we have a renewal of the New York State Economic Development Council for our membership, which is $1,250. And those are all the bills we have this month. And then I think Mike's going to talk about the lead agency request.
Oh, yes, sure. Sure, so we got a letter in the mail from the town of Aurelius. It was just letting us know that they're updating their town's comprehensive plan, and they were asking to be lead for seeker and anything else, and they had identified the IDA as an interested party. We signed off on that, but did request an update to any of their plans as that may impact plans in the park and anything else. So just making sure the board's aware of this here.
Oh, thank you.
Motion to pay the bills and communication.
So move.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Questions, concerns?
I can't let up on anything. This is the third monthly payment we have for that loan.
Yep, we paid one in June. We have one for July and one for August.
And one for June, right?
Yep.
And how much are they all together?
Well, each one is 1583, so they're going to be about probably 46,000 more or less.
100.
Oh, yes, sorry,
They're all-
And
4,600.
did we get that money put in some kind of interest there?
Yeah, so after speaking with John, what Katie has helped put together for us is lists of all the local institutions and their short-term CDs or money market accounts. So waiting to speak with John about where exactly we would like to park that money right now.
You haven't changed that yet?
We have not changed that yet.
Just because I chew know everything.
Sure.
as You probably have noticed.
Mhm.
Who's paying for the interest on this loan?
The idea is.
We eat that, right?
Mhm.
Is that, it's not transferred to the sewer project. It's one of our costs.
It's just
Okay.
one of our costs that
Yeah.
we're eating right now.
I checked this morning and 30-day CDs are paying 5%. And it's really a mistake to have that amount of money sitting there. And how much money do we carry in our checking account?
So Katie, do you recall offhand how much is left in our primary checking right now?
I think, well, it's like 400 and, I don't know, 20,000 or so, because that 400 is still in there.
Oh,
So
that, so you're talking about 20,000 really.
we have
if you
20.
take that
I
400.
think I was just
That's
looking at
our
the
primary
balance sheet,
checking.
but
We have a number of bank accounts. One of the reasons I'm glad Mark is here today is from our last meeting, we've gotten the notice to proceed, and with all of this, we did want to size up based on timing of expenses and everything else. Doesn't make sense for a 30-day CD, or could we look at a longer one depending on when we really expect money to go
Yeah,
in?
let's not spend another month.
No. No.
We might as well put it in the 30-day and get the
There's
5%.
really no reason not to, because you can get it out in 30 days and we're not gonna have any,
We're not gonna pay
maybe
anything.
Mark is gonna tell us that.
All it's gonna do is-
Halfway in and that sewer line, and
I think it's gonna be just the opposite of that. We're gonna have a little.
we'll wait for your discussion.
All it's
And
gonna
there
do
is 200,000 in savings, so
And what does that pay?
the saving, not
nothing.
very much.
Somebody needs to organize our finances so that we aren't paying somebody else 6% interest and we're getting a 0.5% on the money we have. That's my,
But if we had to withdraw it,
You just,
my wife could explain it to you right to the assent, because
yeah,
we roll them over all the time.
yeah.
All you're gonna lose is the interest. You're not gonna lose.
Yeah.
The only
you
penalties.
can take it out anytime, especially if you have multiple
Yep.
30-day CDs, you're only going to get hooked on one of them, not on all.
But all you're gonna lose is the interest.
Yes.
You're not gonna lose any money.
Let's.
I-
Mike, I'm
well,
too- let's not wait for John, get them done.
I can look around tomorrow and then I'll send you a note. And then let's just execute it.
Sure.
This week.
Shouldn't we have a motion though to authorize,
Yeah,
like to put, something?
yeah, I'd make the motion.
Let's, we're trying to pass the treasurer's report.
Right.
Let's
Okay.
stay in order here.
Oh, that's odd.
He started.
That's odd.
He started.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful.
Well,
thing.
that's
We
how-
piggyback
that's
on
how-
his- piggyback on what he's talking about.
Any,
Bob, write that down.
Jesus Christ.
any other discussion on those? All in favor? Oh, before the treasurer.
Okay. So you've got our budget performance so far this month through the end of June. Our bottom line, our net at the end of June was a negative 19,385. That's primarily because we had several large bills that we paid in June. We paid our bill to CCIDA for our cost share with them. We paid our final $4,200 bill for the audit, which was our last bill we'll get from the auditors. And then we had a bill for $3,250 from Harris Beach, and another bill from, I think it was probably from CNS that we had. So that kind of we didn't have much in the way of income that month. So that's why we have kind of a big negative that month, but some of those things won't be repeating in July. So we'll get a little less in the hole looking, I think, this month. Otherwise, there's nothing really strange going on here.
Motion to approve the treasurer report.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Oh, carried. Herb, you wanted to make a motion?
I would make a motion that we immediately transfer that excess cash into some type of a interest-bearing account to recoup our losses on that.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Comments, discussion. On favor? Oh, got it. Okay. We're up, guys. Finished business. Amended CMI LDA agreement, including proposed lot for site plan.
Yeah, I was told we could possibly sign it tonight, but it looks like it needs to be notarized.
We have notary in the room,
Nice.
so we have that all set. So if there's any further discussion, we have to make sure we pass some authorization on this as well, but Brian, I'll let you speak a little more to this in detail as necessary, but
I don't have a lot. I think we worked through with Justin the details as far as being able to move the ground around a little bit. How that would work, and that's in all these. Also, there's an easement for lot 4 for turning it into a driveway instead of a road. That's in here. Those are really the biggest changes. Justin, do you remember any other big changes?
The whole spreadsheet that I
Can you
sent to
hear me?
John. of all the
you hear us, Justin?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, the the CMI LDA amendment had some clarifications placed in there to address their site plan layout, which I'm not sure if a printout of that has been put on the table, but we discussed it at length at the last meeting. They have a proposed driveway improvements to go through the IDA's right of way that also co-locates the two sewer lines. So we've addressed that within the LDA where the IDA is amenable to those driveway improvements being placed in the right of way, and will provide a permanent easement and right of way to allow CMI to utilize that section of the IDA's right of way.
I think the biggest discussion that we had, which was on lot 4, was just about the sewer and water lines and having access. I guess it's up here on the driveway up here. I think we sorted through that, so I think that's covered as well.
Well, that's, I think that was the benefit of having Mark on the call. Morning as it was. So.
If you have an extra one of them, I get it to Carl, the water and sewer director.
One of these,
Yes,
we give you one in color. You know, you can
in color. Keep walk, I'll take one, keep walking down on your side.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You see the green spot on the left part of the map? That's where the pumping station closest to the milk plant is on that line.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a pumping station up at the top here.
Right.
Doesn't show real well on there. It's a little tiny white square in that green, that light green part. That was a little bit of discussion too, just to make sure it didn't block traffic. But I think it's, they worked through it on the call. I think we can work through it. I mean, there's more than one entrance, so. So I think, you know, the big thing for us was to be able to work on it before, I guess we got the permit from the town, because we did get the approved seeker where we had a negative declaration
For the main project.
for the main project, not for this.
If you could review, so I would understand, your meeting with the Aurelius Planning Board, how did that go and what did you accomplish on Tuesday?
Well, Rod Ives presented, you know, the overview
Yeah.
about the project, and really it was lot 4 when we were talking there.
Well, the original part was we went through the long form for the environmental assessment form. They granted us the seeker application. They also granted us an approval, or not an approval, favorable towards any variances that we will have to have. And the only thing that has to be done is there has to be an evaluation on the county side for the 239 for the actual, to have their comments regarding the environmental assessment, and then we'll be able to go through and get.
They're going to approve the secret application.
The secret application is,
It's been approved.
It's already been approved.
There was
Yes.
a negative declaration.
So that the county has to approve.
sorry, go ahead.
But you're satisfied that that went the way you wanted it to go?
Yeah, the only thing was that I think we're supposed to send to you guys when they got all that application.
Not the IDA, but the actual.
The county, yeah, the county.
The engineering review from the county was supposed to be done in parallel with the actual seeker application review done by this town. And that was not submitted into the county and has since been submitted into the county, but that was not done before the seeker application.
We delayed things almost a month, but we asked if we could start moving ground, probably won't take much time. That's what these agreements.
Yeah, there's basically, to make it simple, there's some pre-SWIFT approval things that we can do, which before, without
Can you explain to
activating.
the board what SWIFT
I
is?
understand, yeah. So before activating storm management, basically, which means we're not going to disturb any kind of dirt, which would activate any kind of storm management process.
Stormwater management.
Stormwater management,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
There are things that we could do just as simple as mobilizing things and doing those kind of things. And then once that is approved, then we would be able to actually move dirt. we wouldn't have the building permit itself because we wouldn't have the site plan approval, which won't come till August, but we would have the ability to actually make the building pad and the sub base and everything like that.
So this document that Justin and you all put together yesterday morning gives you the authority or the right to do what you need to do.
Yes,
Absolutely.
or, yeah, I think it said it on both. So I didn't take a look. I know it said on this one about movement around.
It does.
And then added the easement part on this was part of, I guess, the Eagle Drive Holdings was part of that land that was that driveway. It's not gonna be over here with the lot 4.
Correct.
My understanding.
Yes.
Do you know who
Actually,
got
this one.
the application?
That was a lot.
Do you know who got the application for engineering? The county?
I don't.
I don't specifically know. No,
Is it planning or?
it would have been their engineering department. I'm not really
Okay.
entirely sure. I know that they
I
are,
don't know if they're moving along, yeah.
yes. My
Do
understanding
you have
is,
it, maybe, did you send it to them?
no,
No,
it was sent
by the
to them by
town.
the town. And then my understanding is that they do an engineering review, which ultimately basically goes through and says they're having, if they have any suggestions towards that they will give back to the town because the town is the primary agent. So,
Maybe we should talk
I'm just
about.
trying to figure out who the name is in case. you
No, I
follow up.
understand,
If
I
you got that by
I
email.
do not have that,
by
because that's
email.
all done internally between the town and the county.
No, they didn't tell us.
They should have copied you. No, it's okay.
No, I haven't seen it,
I have not seen anything,
but maybe it went to Rod, I don't know.
no.
Probably not.
No.
So do you want to give them just a brief overview? They probably have no all this already, but Domino, and now that we got the approved seeker, negative declaration, and then you sign this, then what happens?
When we sign this, then the next piece would be, we would ultimately have that county review done. Once that county review is done, then we are okay to go through and get to the final processes of the site plan approval. Before we actually do that, though, we would have the variance approval. So they would go through, there are two variances. One is for the height for the silos. The other one is for the setback variances that are incurred because of how the land was split up. So those, once that process was done, which theoretically could be done directly after the county had done their review, then we would go back to the town. And now that we have the seeker and we have the LDA signed, then they could issue us the site plan approval, and they could also issue us the building permit, because the building permit process has already been completed. They've already reviewed the building permit. So
Who are you working with in the county to get that done?
which part specifically?
That you just said you needed the county to.
I have not been given that name. At the town meeting, they said that they were giving that to the county engineering department to review.
Bob is the county legislator who's on our board.
I understand. I'd be more than happy to
That's
track
what
that
I asked a couple
down.
minutes ago, the same thing.
Yeah,
Who got
I
it?
can email the town attorney and see if they maybe could forward me a copy of that correspondence.
We don't want it held up because whoever needs to process it is not.
yeah, understood.
Yeah, it's pretty critical we get that back.
Yes. But in a perfect world, we ultimately, once we had all that in place, then we go through, we get the variances taken care of, and then we have the final issue of the site plan approval and the building
And
permit.
what's the timeline on those?
If the town does that directly after, presumably, we're supposed to get everything back from the county on the 17th or 18th of August, that's what I was told. Then once that, then they would do the review for the variances on the 22nd, and then theoretically on any day after that, we could have the final approval from the town.
It's really critical because if we don't get going by then, it's gonna be tough to get stuff done before winter.
You use that word casually in a perfect world.
No, I'm just saying,
That's okay. That's all right.
there are several balls in the air with everything, and just trying to make sure that as many of them get to where they're supposed to. Right. Unfortunately, we have 10 different things, to your point, that if any one of them does not happen, then it's potentially.
For tonight, the most important thing is to sign.
Correct.
this, which we need to make sure we have another, and we have that, so I'll make sure I sign it, and then
Yeah.
make sure we both get copies.
Justin,
I have the ones. I don't-
We're
She's got
doing
copies
two
for us.
documents here today, right? The permission to do work there as well as the work on the lot 4.
That's correct. The IDA approved the Eagle Drive Holdings preliminary site work at last month's meeting. We took care of that and now have that document ready. Today's resolutions for Cuba Milk Ingredients and specifically to Lot 4 in that LDA. Just allowing that site plan and driveway improvements to go forward with the transaction to involve another easement. So after the agenda today is all reviewed and that resolution for CMI is adopted by your board, both LDA amendments can be signed after today's meeting.
I would think we would do them as two separate motions, right, Justin?
We don't need a motion for EDH. We took care of that last month. We just need one single motion and we have a resolution on your agenda for Cuba Milk Ingredients today.
There's an authorizing resolution, Justin, in our packet. That's what you would like the board to approve.
Correct, and that's for Lot 4 primarily.
And that's authorizing resolution Eagle Drive Holdings LLC amended application in LDA.
That's in the minutes from last month.
Oh, I'm
That's the
sorry.
Last one, so
Yep.
that was just,
I don't, and I'm missing the authorizing resolution for this one.
so this one here.
Oh, I see it now. I'm sorry. Authorizing resolution Cuba Milk Ingredients LLC Lot 4 easement and amended LDA. So we're looking for a motion to approve the authorizing resolution.
I would move we approve that authorizing resolution.
So that would be 5B. 5B, we're moving on. So, authorizing resolution. We don't have to do anything with A.
Yeah, so A was basically just an update as Brian
Okay,
went through
very good.
here discussing what those.
Is there a
updates-
second?
Second,
Further discussion about authorizing resolution for easement for driveway improvements.
With Cuba Milk Ingredients LLC, yes.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mr. Lattimore,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan Flesh.
yes.
Mr. Lat- Michigan Page, Mr. Lockwood,
Yes.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Shea.
Yes.
All present voting aye. Carried.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I go over
Motion adjourned. Have you had a discussion with my fire department? Maybe if you can, I was told you just want to make sure that you're equipped to do whatever.
Okay.
Is the district.
Board.
If you do.
All right.
Thank
Do
you.
you have a contact or? Your name and number, I'll call.
Who's the notary? You're notary? You're the notary?
Brian.
Notary?
Just sit here.
Yeah. Brian, you're gonna sign that with our notary
Yeah.
before you leave?
I was gonna go right next to him and.
Well, I think she's got the,
I've
She
got
can do
it, I
that, and
think.
then I can sit with her.
Do you have a card?
Does that resolution give you the authority to start moving?
Yes, correct. Yes, that's what this was all about.
Anything that we can-
Okay, so we're done with these.
That just got passed with this.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? All you need to do is sign it.
Depending on
And
meetings.
it's- I don't know where to go.
Is there anything else you guys need some more?
You will know.
I don't think so. A phone call to the county would be really good, whoever that is.
Oh,
We will track that down.
yeah, it's the one in the packet, right? It was in the packet? From Justin's.
But it's not the authorizing.
It looks like you already got
I don't check,
resolution.
No, she's sending authorizing resolution allows. Yep, perfect.
All right.
So this one is Cuba Milk.
I was here,
Oh, these are all Cuba Milk.
Yeah, it's 2 months ago.
Okay. Now
But there's also the
I was
other,
here last,
there's an
They
Eagle
were
Drive.
signing that.
I was 10 miles out of town and my tire,
Yes, yes, yep.
so I called and I said, I just.
Those are good. I would be-
Okay.
Otherwise, I would have loved to have been here.
So, sorry, I've got 3 different ones away. We need to get 3 signed.
That's this, and all I have to do is build the entire building. So he's got the difficult job.
I don't know if you give them that much credit. Building it is gonna be a project. It's wonderful.
It's challenging.
Certainly it is.
There's a lot of things you gotta deal with.
Well, we're all very hopeful everything's-
So far, everything has been, with a few, other than a few little speed bumps, the last few months have been perfect.
When's it gonna be done? Completion?
We are most likely going to get our full approval to go forward with our building permit in either the last week of August or the first week of September.
You don't have to specifically wait for a planning board meeting.
Yes, ultimately, the planning board has basically said if we can get everything else done from the perspective of the OBA and get everything done from the variances and from the county review and everything, they will go through and approve us across the board for site plan approval and building permit approval. And everything.
So that will be your final approval.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
From the town.
Yeah. And those,
Possibly the latter part of August.
either the last week of August or the first week of September. But up until then, we should be able to do what we need to do to get the building pad ready. Because we have 3 or 4 weeks to get the building pad ready anyways. Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to, as you're building a building pad, put a foundation in, but ultimately, you gotta do both, so.
When will you be done?
Done is an interesting question. So there's 3 dones. There's done with the shell, probably in the end of Q3, beginning of Q4 of 2024. Done with everything up from an MEP standpoint, probably very much near the end of Q4 2024, and then actually running and making something probably Q1 of 2025.
When there's drafts.
That's the one, there's a very long time period between the building's done and we're putting the grass out and sweeping off the front sidewalk until you're actually making something.
So it'll be like 1 year for
Product
certificate of occupancy?
First quarter of
Yes.
25.
Good to know.
Just about.
Less than
Should be, certificate of occupancy will be sometime in Q4, probably, towards the beginning of Q4.
Okay.
Most likely.
Now this trip to Scotland is.
That is not, that is in that timeline, unfortunately. I'll have to figure out how to get that to work.
Yeah, it sounds like it's jeopardy.
If I was to put off everything until, because I had a big project going on, I would not have gotten anything done in 30 years. I would never go anywhere. So.
Well, you know how to handle it.
I have to plan the trip first and then figure out how it works under the schedule.
Yes.
If it's the other way around, I wouldn't have, my last trip would have been when I was 21.
Does he want that notarized? These are all signed.
Yeah, I'd like this one notarized.
Okay.
This one and then.
What about the parking area for the trailer? Is that part of this same project? We're gonna build a slab or something for.
We're not actually gonna do that. That was too far away from the site. We've actually sort of relocated things and we'll just be putting a temporary area. Actually, we're gonna be using what will ultimately be the employee parking for our staging for the time being. And so that way we can strip it, put down stone, put down base. That's what we almost all our projects, what we like to do is get pavement base down. Because then we can just put things out and it's a beautiful space and then we come and make it lovely with some top coat at the end and no one's the wiser.
You got it.
Unless the crane comes in and like, wherever the crane sets up, that's the only spot that just gets, you just, that's throwaway. Just tear that one out and start all over. Nothing will tear your pavement up more than a crane.
Let me see if they'll tell me that I didn't have something with me like
It's just an interesting, it's just this type of job is just because it starts so slow and then it has this like long plateau, just unbelievable amount of activity and then it slowly tails off. But you'll go out there and you'll be like, we're 3 months in and there's like 30 guys out there working. But when it's steel guys and concrete guys, there's only so many guys, so much they can do until those guys gotta get out of the way before you can start really doing stuff. Not that that's not really doing stuff, you know, you can get a bunch of people out.
It's funny, they did the addition on Plan Well Channel, and they poured the pad and then they poured the walls in place and tipped them up. That was pretty cool to watch that.
Yeah, those poured on site pours, silks, buildings are, yeah, there's hardly any of them
Yesterday morning.
30 years ago. Now they're everywhere.
Yeah,
With almost every single warehouse I've seen built.
they're down
Thank you.
to pain.
Everything? I think so.
I think so. I didn't bring-
All right.
See you guys.
Take care.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thursday.
My favorite topic, update on the sewer line.
Well, as I'll move over here, so you guys can hear me a little bit better. Like alluded to, we had some great news, like July 5th. Mr. Stevens came back and said that the EDA gave the approval to award it to Highlander. So we did that. I've got the executed contracts, 2 sets down there for you. The contracts have been delivered to Highlander. Their first comment to me was, okay, great, we got a couple of jobs we gotta finish up first before they get out here. But right now, his task is to get a updated schedule for the contract, start his submission of shop drawings and things like that, the pumps, the structures, all the components of the pump station, basically. And then as those come in, get them approved, then he'll start ordering stuff. And he said he's gonna put that on the top of the list on this and get that going. It's very important, right? So,
The pumps are nice, right?
yeah, and nice thing as well too, the generator and all that good stuff. Start getting the ball rolling on those items. One other thing too, that the EDA mentioned too, they want a sign up on site as soon as possible as well too. So he's gonna get the sign made up and get that placed. Gonna determine a good location for that at some point.
Highlander's gonna do it.
Yes, Highlander. It's part of their contract to purchase it and install it and take it down at the end of the job as well too. That's about where we're at with that. I did talk to Brad Olin about the schedule, and I said to him, I said, you know, it'd be nice to start showing some progress here as soon as possible, right? Get something going. I kind of had an odd comment remark back from him. I guess he says, okay, Mark, I can show up and I could hound out that, 5,400 linear feet of force main in
Doesn't matter.
12 days.
It's nicer than the pump and the controls.
Right. He says, or I can wait till I can mobilize and do
You might
not
better,
just that work.
yeah, you might better wait.
The thing is with that, though, I told him, it's like, on the town end of it, I want to make sure the road gets restored and put back into place before snow flies. And get it back looking good and in good shape for them. There's one thing. So I think I'd like to have him. Let me see what his schedule says when he gets it over to him. I want to see what it looks like. I want to get that done first, if not sooner than later. I don't want to let that sit. And the other stuff's pretty much out of our control. I mean, it is when it gets here, he'll get it put in. But some of these things we're looking at 12 to 15 weeks out still. So
What was the time frame on NICEAG? That was 6 months.
that was, yeah, a good long 6 months. But we did a lot of the upfront work already with getting the service order started and all that. So it's a good thing. So now it goes from, say, us coordinating the ESO, now Highlander being the contractor, they have to take it over and carry it on from there.
But there's no reason to wait for the electric company to do the basic construction work. Waiting for the construction work to be able to put the
Well-
pumping stations and all that stuff in is all right. But he's not going to be involved very much with electrical services.
The only thing that he's responsible for electrical service is putting out paying for it, part of it. But is getting the panels in place and getting ready for the power to be hooked up into those
You know, but
panels.
he can do that
He can do all that.
while he's waiting for the electric company
That's correct.
to do the switch business.
That's correct. That is correct.
So what I think I understood from you is it would be worthwhile waiting for the stuff for the pumping stations to come in, so he can do the whole amount of the construction work at the same time.
Once the pipe is put in, he really has nothing to do for almost a couple months.
Right.
That's the thing.
But see, to us, from a cash flow standpoint, it's almost better if he waits, but.
Right. And I think that's gonna happen. That's kind of what we were kind of leaning towards earlier in the meeting, that I don't think you're gonna see a fairly large draw on this until October timeframe.
Yeah.
Right around there, that timeframe or so, it's September. I mean, the biggest,
It would be, like you say, it would be good to get the work in the driveway done before the weather gets bad.
yes. I do
But
like
it's
that.
shut down.
Yeah, the asphalt plant slows down Thanksgiving time,
Yeah,
Right, so-
if
Not
not
sooner.
before, if the weather
Right.
turns around.
right? I'd like to see, at least get that in, and if he has to demote for a while and come back, then he has to do that. That's just the way it is.
Yes.
You know,
But the pipe is simple.
Yeah,
2 weeks,
That's the easiest deal.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's all pretty shallow. It's just getting the rest of it, all
Till you get the rock.
the, yeah, yeah.
We need to, on our part, decide what we're going to do with those two culverts before he gets there.
Yeah, we gotta, come up with a game plan and. Then we give him a plan, okay, here's what we wanna do and have it part of it, yes. Okay, but good, at least good news, at least we're heading in the right direction, I think, it's a good thing, we have at least the contract ready to
The
go.
first thing that's been positive.
no, we've done so little for so long that any movement feels good.
Yes.
You're right
Yes, it
there.
does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I did call David Botar on the 5th of July. And he told me he wasn't positive they was working that week, but he was sure he was gonna get that for us either that week or the very first of the next week when they come, I think on Friday.
Well, we reached out to him a couple weeks before that, I think it was, right? And he greased his skids on it, there's no doubt about it. He's helped us out with that.
I think we really did know.
I think so too. Well, in both phases of that.
Yes.
So that's about where we're at. So right now, I'm expecting to see from Highlander a construction schedule, start the shop drawing review process coming in and getting that signed up. So it's gonna be the first order of things to go on.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, two things I want to ask the board with all that information. It's one, from the cash flow perspective, we could actually put in a longer term, 3-month, CD or a money market account. So that's one thing to deal with. The other,
It appeared to me, and I'm certainly no banker, that the 30-day ones were the ones that were paying the most interest because they were flexible.
Mm.
If something changed, they could get out of them.
They
as
could
well.
decrease the rate.
Whatever is paying the best interest.
Sure. So we can do that. And the other thing, Mark, is with CMI looking to do the lot 4 improvements on the roadway and everything else, you're certain none of this work is going to conflict with that, and making sure that potentially any work we do now might actually help them in their process.
Yeah, I was trying to get a timing of that lot 4 development when that was gonna happen. Because we do have, our deepest work is on that end of the site. We'll be down 30 feet in the ground there. right?
Yes.
So I don't want to see them get too much developed with paving and all that. When we go in there, we damage that. That's got to be coordinated once that gets all fired
Don't
up.
do like the city, where you pave the road, then they go back
Take it up
and
the
take it
next
up
day.
to the sewer line.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. So I think that he sounds like they're gonna get started on that maybe September timeframe.
Well, they're up, from everything I'm hearing from them, is that they get all the approvals from the town over this next month here. If they can really start making some of those preliminary adjustments to the land as we granted them, that's what they would like to start doing.
Okay, so it sounded like the hard surfaces and things like that. They have to get the final design done and all that, get it submitted to the DEC for their SWIP and all that good stuff, right? So the DEC, but get a SWIP and all that, but the design is gonna be done.
It looked like from what he said, it would be, the earliest would be September.
Yeah, I think so. So it's gonna be close. We'll have to, maybe they leave that area last on that northwest corner to do or whatever. 'Cause we're gonna be fairly deep in there. I don't know about that. A lot of moving parts in that spot.
So as soon as we get those plans from Highland or on their timeline, we'll try to stay on top of CMI. Yeah. Okay.
One of the nice things too, the concrete structure shouldn't take as long as the pump and things like that. So like I said, the pump station was down there at the bottom, was about 30 feet deep, so it's substantial excavation.
Right in the rock.
Right around.
Very familiar with that site.
That's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't, there's not gonna be much happening here in the next month with the site, I don't believe. Highlander's finishing up some other projects that they've got going right now, and it's really idle on the construction side for a little bit.
Questions? Very good.
Nice update.
Thanks. Sheet updates.
Skip over this one. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, seat updates. So the big ones here was going through the update on the sewer project and how that's been impacting CMI's project there. The thing Judson and I have talked about is really getting through today and everything else. So over this next week, we're going to really start the back end CBA of what it means to get them an updated pilot and everything else. We'll bring this to the board first, make sure we're all in agreement on that before we start going back and forth with them. To help move this whole thing along there. So that should hopefully empower them to move along on their own project. The two Sunnies, if you recall from earlier this year, the two Sunny solar applications kind of stalled. They came in and made their pitch for two sites in the town of Ledger and the town of Scipio. And we haven't heard from them since May, and just heard from them last week saying they were working on getting us an updated labor policy waiver. So I mean, they're off the table like the small project that was proposed in town Moravia, but we'll see where that one lands as it is. So I'll hopefully have an update for everyone on that there. Going into next month, because that is a good chunk of change that IEA can certainly work with there. Maureen, I'm glad she was able to join us today, and this might be better suited for executive session, but I'll touch on it here. Was able to meet with property owner as well as Doug Here's from Soil and Water a week or two back to tour that property. We've also received drone footage as well of property here. I shared that with Mark just earlier today, since we've gotten it, as well as site profile that was done some years back on that particular parcel. So, no, Maureen, you're giving me a little.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the word tour the property.
Well,
It was a hike
it was.
and it was wet.
How'd you like the mosquitoes?
Yes, as I'm scratching all of my mosquito bites from it
It's
was
the
not a
only-
tour.
It's the only thing Doug really went on about. But again, he got 8 units, he got 8 of 5 mosquitoes.
Did you get to go over all the property pretty quick?
Yes, most of it. The furthest eastern reaches we didn't go through. There wasn't really a whole lot to discover and see
He said
back there, but
there's no good trees or woods.
No,
There's no timber there that amounts to anything. I didn't think there was, but I kind of thought there was.
No,
a lot of good firewood.
that's what he said was not, wasn't nothing sellable.
Mhm.
I haven't seen the drone footage, but
I can send that around.
okay, thanks.
The
Yeah.
drone footage is beautiful and really it'll be helpful to
That's really
use
good.
in any kind of listings that we have, which really shows the proximity to the throughway exit and accessibility, the surrounding, it is kind of separate from other buildings by way of the railway on the south side. There are just a few houses on the right, or sorry, on the north side of it.
Yeah, he said, he didn't have any scope of work. He didn't, until we were sure what we want, if we were gonna own it or not, that he said there wasn't nothing that he couldn't do with his equipment. If that's what we want him to do.
We still, at this time, don't have word back from the primary owner because of their ill health on what a potential option agreement would look like right now?
As far as the price, we don't know.
No. So, but we are actively, again, that was one of these other items in the new business section is on the fast and work letter, 10 application here. We have that all drafted, ready to go. It's a really simple form. We have permission from the owners to apply for it. And I do have draft over for Justin to take a peek at. And again, Mark, if you're able to take a, quick look at it, just to give a very high level.
Typically, we've done those fast New York applications too, we provide a very schematic site plan and all that. I don't know if you want to do that, maybe we're at that point already, I don't know.
It's already being done through David.
So-
Right.
So Central New York Regional Planning and Development Board, they are getting those sites together. And so we have a few on, and this is the top.
And that's
of the
what
list.
that's what David both are. So
They
they
got cost estimating, they got all the. Worked up for that, as well, too. Usually it's a cost estimate.
There is an RFP for the work that I have, if you wanted to look through that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
curious.
recall if, cost estimates were included in that.
We did Oswego County IDA and we had a cost estimates and all that for it, that helps substantiate it. But I mean, how this one?
This one was one of the sites that CNYRPDB did back in 2013.
that's
So there's a substantial, like a 25-page document already done on the site. So it shouldn't be very much of a heavy lift. I don't know how broad the scope is of the work, but
Gotcha.
if you're interested in that,
Yeah, that's
give
good.
me your email address.
So those are the highlights there, but happy to more context if there's any questions.
There's one other highlight, just that I'm working with two businesses that are interested, two existing Auburn-based businesses that are interested in smaller parcels that CCIDA owns. So the one, as if you're looking at Eagle Drive coming south before the road splits around to Milk Ingredients in that corner, they're just south of Bob Carrick's dock place, that business. So that's about, I think there's like 2 good usable acres. There's some wetlands and stuff behind there that would go with it. So the original business that was looking at it is working with an engineering company out of Rochester to do the design and layout. And so far they think it'll work very well. And then good and bad is that another business came along behind them and they are also interested in that site. But I think, the one is looking good and there is available land in the southern part of the IDA park. So potentially, maybe we can find a place for them as well.
Then Grover or whatever their name, did they
Denkovic.
express interest in it?
Well, yes, and even aside from Denkovic looking to expand to the south into parcel 11, I think it is, 9 and 10 along the southern part, it's about 20 acres there. And for this business, they would need 5.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
some good interest. It's nice to have the available land.
Ag related?
No, kind of construction for one, and then the other one is like a service-based providing goods throughout, goods and then service to the goods throughout, like a
Oh,
good
that's fine.
portion of,
I just thought maybe.
it would be really convenient if I could just say the name of the business, but
I just
I
thought
can't.
with CMI and
Well,
Grover,
we're in executive session.
it's citing being right there, that might be ag related, that's all. Anything else?
Those are the 2 major things. And still just looking for the other sites for the next part.
Your motion going to executive session.
We got one question. though.
Sure.
Who monitors the percentage of people working on this project that are local, or how do we do that? Is that part of the contract?
As far as on Highlander's contract.
We're talking Highlanders contract right now.
I
See
believe
that?
I am.
Yeah, all of them are local. All their workers are
Okay.
right in Central New York area.
But that's part of the contract, is it not, Rick? That we have to have certain percentages or not?
No,
No.
not on that. There might be, depending on the size, it might be woman-owned business or for subs.
WBE, NBE,
Explain what they are.
It's minority business.
Minority business and women-owned
There's a
business.
requirement for that, and there's a women's business requirement for that as well too.
Yeah, which I think are pages within his contract
Yeah.
documents. You're referring to the Cuban Milk Ingredients Project where you have,
Correct.
we have the local labor policy. So your question is, who monitors that?
Correct. That's my question.
CCIDA staff.
Okay, and then how is that monitored?
Like they monitored all the other projects with that.
And how is that done? And I think that's what Paul's
I
question
think,
is.
I think that answers the question right there. So we don't have a plan. Probably not. Are we not contractually? Maybe Justin can answer that, but are we not responsible to monitor that? Justin?
Is this for the sewer project or for just a typical IDA pilot type project?
Yeah, for the milk plant.
Yeah, fine, yeah, not that.
Yeah, they have to file annual employment reports with the IDA that are due in February every year for general employment numbers. And I think there's questions with regard to where employees are coming from during the construction phase as well. The IDA can hire a monitoring firm and charge that cost to each company if you want to have more active monitoring going on for larger projects. That's up to you guys.
But my point is, I don't want to be 2 years from now, somebody brings an action against us because we didn't do something along those lines. But if we get a copy of those.
Well, there's a clawback clause.
Huh?
There's a clawback clause in the contract
Yeah.
that if they don't adhere to it.
Well, who's monitoring it? So if they don't refund. No, your point's right on. So
Yeah.
we need to copy that annual report every year. Yeah.
Well, we
think so.
Yeah.
We have two different things. We, as part of Paris reporting, we get updated, employment figures from everyone who has an IDA contract. And two, there's site monitoring going on every year as well. And that's part of Maureen's job, is to visit each IDA client and basically check off, say you're going to do this project, is it still active?
So you've got the documentation to make sure we're compliant.
On bigger things like that, but to go through, are you employing specifically 100% locally, local firms to staff all of this? That's a little more difficult from our end, as I perceive it.
Okay, I'm just trying to protect us from the lawsuit. The union starts picketing and saying you haven't done this locally. No, that's a good point. And the other question I have is, for us, some years ago, when milk plant first started, I remember a discussion about the state or somebody gonna put a turning lane on that thing. That has never been looked at or done or anything like that.
Haven't heard any more about it.
Yeah, but it should be us complaining to the state that it hasn't happened, or it makes up. I was there the other day behind two milk tankers and traffic coming the other way. You cannot get past there.
I've said from the get-go, I'm surprised there hasn't been some pretty good accidents there.
Yeah.
You've heard me say that from the very beginning. They were supposed to line up all that traffic, and the state's never done anything.
With Home Depot.
Yeah,
Should we remind them of that or somebody, how do we? Yeah, we should write a letter. Don't you think?
yes. I think
And now with
it's
this
more of a
new,
state highway problem than it is our IDA, but yeah, we could.
well, I think I'll put them on notice anyway. Yeah, no.
Is that something maybe they have on a schedule, maybe got pushed back, will start maybe whatever, 2018, and they kick it down. Maybe that would be a good starting point to see if it's still on their list.
Too bad there is a bridge there where
Is that
the
a
trucks
public
are-
document to schedule that you
Big
find
national
online or
road.
something?
I can't get
You
this
can build
highway bridge guys, it's not a state report. So
He's gonna-
let me check our highway bridge guys, they have a list that comes from the state of New York that has like a prioritized
Okay,
list of
we'll
that.
just see if we're on the list at all. It's gonna get worse.
It is.
Yeah.
It's bad now.
Yeah, bad now.
You come around that curve, They're right there.
You better be paying attention.
Exactly.
That's right in front of the Home Depot area?
But I also.
No, it's back west.
Okay.
I think the key, yeah, the Eagle Drive intersection.
Yeah, right by Troopers Barracks, right by the sign there, by the mall.
Okay.
But I also think it'd behoove us to write a letter to,
Okay.
the state legislator or something, you know, let's look at it.
Yeah. Forget the one we got right now.
Yeah. Because on the town, we've
I'll
done
send it
that.
to my college and get more attention.
We never got anything, but we couldn't letters, so. Could be a serious accident and somebody could be suing somebody. Or not. Well, just, I don't know how
Makes
much,
common sense.
I don't know how much it would cost, but that whole area there is kind of, you know, a nightmare. Okay, I'm done.
I had one more thing. I had a person talk to me just a day or two ago about the GE plant. Why don't we investigate that and see how available that might be and how it might be available and usable, what needs to be done. That's a fairly large piece of property with
Yeah,
a
there's
very
50
good-
acres there.
Yes, but that might be something you could, it would have to be usable for us to have any interest in it.
Yeah.
But I think that is worth us looking into and seeing what we might be able to do to get that available. To do
There's a
something.
company in it now.
What,
There's a company in it now.
in the building?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah, they're the ones that monitor, take care of it, like that big water filtration system I got at the farm that they put in. That GE paid for. Oh, can't remember the name, but they're located in there. They take care of all the water systems and all that kind of crap.
So there is somebody doing something.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, it's just,
But
I
anyway,
think it's more,
I think it would be worthwhile.
I think it's more like storage and
you all
office.
To have some investigation. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great location.
And there's a lot of land and very.
That's a good idea.
I don't know, maybe a EPA site. though.
It has a lot of issues with it, but it is 50 acres just outside of the town, and it does have city water and sewer connected to it, I think.
Mhm.
So
But
and it's
with
great.
all the EPA issues still fall back on GE. So
Yeah.
if somebody new
I-
comes in, they
So
don't take
that's,
those issues. on.
I'm surprised to hear you say someone's in there. So I think GE still is the property owner.
No,
Yeah,
well,
So-
but they'll, GE will own those issues forever.
The people are in there are contracted through GE.
Gotcha.
They'll own them issues forever.
Yeah.
Or they go broke. Or they-
So that's what usually happens. They bankrupt to get out of them.
Yeah, GE is too big to go bankrupt over that one.
Yeah, still have some subsidized company that go bankrupt.
Yeah.
They'll have an ABC company that goes belly up.
Do we need executive
Yes.
session?
Want to say something?
Second.
Reason for.
No, I said, do we need?
Acquisition of
Yeah,
land.
we were talking, land.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,